Morning, Esteban.
Were you a Boy Scout?
No,
Like
I was a
starting to string now.
Future Farmers of America.
That's a good one too.
Yeah,
Mixer, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, DLive,
bless you.
and getting on Twitch now. Press 1 if you hear us fine. Press 2.
Were you a Future Farmer of America in high school?
Never heard of it.
You
Future Farmer of America?
no? Were you a Boy Scout?
I don't think I've
Looks
ever
lit.
seen any.
Good. All right.
Yeah.
I'll take you. Let's go.
In the Boy Scout in your school?
Appreciate that, Gray Fox.
You do?
All right.
You were in
I'm gonna play the opener.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have that.
So somebody's going to point at you, Jesse.
Were you a Future Farmer of America, Jay? FFA in high school?
I never even heard of it.
Future farmers.
That's what I was.
They teach you how to plant food or something?
Like Boy Scout.
Okay.
Good morning. Welcome to church. I am Jesse Peterson. Thank you so much for being with me. It's so amazing. We started on time today. We black, but we ain't that black. You can get involved, folks. I will be taking your calls at 888-7753-773, 888-77-JESSE. And you can also go, as you already know, some of you know, you can go to our chat line on YouTube there, and I can respond to some of your questions and comments. It's hot in LA, by the way, and it's weird to see people walking around in masks, sweating, about to fall out. It's so hot out there, they have these mask things on. It's so weird to see it. These are some very, very interesting times in our world. It's so amazing to be alive and see this and be a part of it. One other thing I want to tell you is that in San Francisco, they say because of the Chinese virus, they have housed a lot of homeless people up there in like apartments and hotels and everything like that. And now, I heard this on the news report yesterday, Saturday, they are starting to give the homeless people free drugs and alcohol. Isn't that amazing? The government is now giving the homeless people who are housing them free drugs and alcohol. So if we have an alcoholics and drug addicts out there, you can go up to San Francisco right now and get it free and live free. And they're doing it because they don't want the people to become depressed and violent. Isn't that amazing? What type of government would do something like that? The government is supposed to protect and serve, but they're destroying. They'll set us up to be destroyed. It's amazing. One other thing I want to share with you is that, and then I'll start taking some calls. I talk to a lot of folks. I counsel with people, as you know, around the world. We have the best counseling service on this side of heaven. And lately I've been talking to people who was telling me that, ever since I woke up, I see things differently now. It's hard for me to go against what I see as right. And now my friends and family members, it's hard to be around them. I don't have any friends. My friends are disappearing, and family members, when I'm with them, I don't feel a part of them, they say. Well, that's a normal process. Allow yourself to go through that. Don't try to make that happen. It will happen naturally as you are overcoming, as you're growing. Christ said that he came to divide, not to unite, but to divide. Divide the children of the lie from the children of the truth. And in family members and so-called friendships, that's what you have. You've always had fake friends and fake family members, but didn't know it because you were in a fallen state too. Even though you knew you were a little different, there was something different about you. You knew that But now that you're waking up, you can see that even your blood family members are no longer they're your blood family, but you can't get along with them. You just don't fit in because every time you speak, they're gonna get mad. They say what they want to say, but when you say what you want to say, they get mad at you. And now that you're changing, you can no longer not be your brand new self. You have no other choice because once you're born again, you can no longer be unborn. So you can't even fake being that person that you used to be, that they once knew. So don't worry about it. Continue what you're doing, and God will add new friends, and this spiritual men and women will become your brothers and sisters. It will be amazing, all right? I'm hearing that a lot. And I've been through that, so I know. I even talked to a cousin of mine a couple weeks ago. Hadn't talked to him in a while. A cousin-in-law. Haven't spoken to him in a while, so I was talking to him on the phone. And he was so liberal, and I didn't know that. I never had that kind of conversation with him. And he was telling me, well, nobody in the family agree with you. I'm like, what the? But I was surprised, and it doesn't bother me. I don't really care. But some people you're starting to overcome, and you may feel bad about losing your friend. I want to talk about, and family. They were never real friends and real family members anyway. They have no love. So it's okay. Really, it's okay. It's going to change. You will find one or two people, handful, maybe 3 friends the rest of your life. I want to talk about the biblical question of last week. I learned so much from that biblical question of last week. And then I'll take some calls on it before I tell you my little 2 cents about it. But the biblical question last week, do you see yourself as a son of God? As a son of God. And so, James, when I get some calls or responses to that, let me know. Because I want to we're at church, we're just fellowshipping. So I want to know, do you see yourself as a son or daughter? Normally, in normal world, when you say son, the women automatically know you mean them too, or daughter. But do you see yourself as a son or daughter of God? I asked another friend last night, he lives in Alabama. I'm like, do you see yourself as a son of God? And he was like, And he was like, he said, oh, I see myself as a follower of Christ. And I said to him, have you been listening to the hate report or something? Because that's what James said. One of my biblical questions were, are you like Christ? Something like that. Are you a Christian? What does that mean? Something like that. And James said, oh, to like Christ. I'm like, what? Remember that? So do you see yourself as a son of God? I want to ask Francisco, and then we'll take some calls on whatever's on your mind. We're just fellowshipping. It's not a test. You don't get an A or C or B. It's just fellowship. And I want you to know that you know, to start thinking for yourself and know for yourself, not because someone said it, all right? Do you see it? This is Francisco. Do you see yourself? And have Doug to come here. Oh, I can't wait to ask Doug. Oh, Lord. Do you see yourself as a son of God?
No, I don't.
And why not? Did I ask you this last week?
You did.
Oh, and why not?
I don't think that way. I can't relate.
You can't relate to being a son of God?
No.
Are you a Christian?
I am.
And what does it mean to be a Christian?
Christ-like.
And what is Christ like?
Christ is like his father.
And what is his father like?
Well, they say his father is like his son, or he wants the will of his son. But I just...
Who said that?
What's that?
You said they said it?
Well, it's just, what I read. I haven't talked to Jesus lately, but it's written about him.
So you're a Christian,
Yeah.
but you're not a son of God.
I don't think that. I've never thought that.
Why not?
Never.
Why haven't you thought about that?
I have not thought about that. I've thought about being Christ-like, and so I can see it I can see it envisioning Christ in my mind or reading about it. I can see it, but I've not thought about, the Father in heaven. I can
so
see about
you-
Moses, like Moses was a great man also. And the
Where's
prophet-
Moses now?
Oh, he's right here.
So listen,
Yeah.
you say you're Christ-like.
Yes.
And what does that mean? How are you Christ-like?
The things that you've read in the Bible, wanting the things of
How are you Christ-like?
wanting God's will on earth,
What is God will?
wanting God's will. Well,
If you say
have to think.
one more time.
I got to think about it.
Oh, you do?
I
Okay.
have to think about it.
Let me ask Doug. Doug is my computer guy, webmaster. Doug, are you a son of God?
Yep.
You are a son of God? Why are you laughing at him, Joe? Joe, do you like it? Why you say yes? What is that like to be a son of God? How do you know you're a son of God?
I don't know, I'm the son of God. I think because the way my life has changed and kind of seeing how life just kind of unfolds itself, there's really nothing that I have to plan. Most of the time I have no idea what's going to happen, and something good happens. I think that's about all I can enter.
That's it?
Yeah,
And that's how you know you're a son of God?
yeah.
Because
My life has changed.
your life changed?
The way life unfolds itself,
Okay.
I haven't had to plan much.
All right. And had you thought about this question before I made it into a biblical question?
At times here and there, but not really in depth.
Oh, okay. Amazing. Let me ask Joel. Joel is one of our experts. Are you a son of God?
I like to see myself as a son of God.
You would like to see yourself
I would
that
like to
way,
see
but
myself, yeah.
are you a son of God?
Yes.
And why do you say yes?
I hope so.
What is? I like to see myself. Yes, I hope so.
It's tricky. It's tricky because I like to say yes, right? But it's tricky because there's like these weird waters where I don't know if I say yes, am I deceiving myself by saying yes? So I like to think so. I believe I'm a son of God, but
You like to think so, and you believe you are.
right.
But what are you? Are you?
I would like to say so, yes.
But he would like to say so.
I believe so.
Why? So, are you a son of God?
I believe so, yes.
Why do you believe that? Yes. You sure sound confused about your daddy.
Why is because I think that I know, well, one thing that I believe I know is that I want what's right. And I notice when there's times where, if I miss a step, I recognize that, I try to find the way back to, the direction. So I would say yes, because I desire what is right. That was a good answer.
I'm a little confused. So you say yes, you are a son of God because you desire what's right.
What is right, yeah.
Oh, okay. And so you are a son of God.
I believe so.
That's not an answer, Joel.
It just feels, I just don't like to tread those, I like tread lightly with those kind of waters.
Why?
Just because, how do we really know if we're a son or daughter of God? You know what I mean? How do we really know? I don't want to say it because I said things that I believed I was right on, and then like years later I realized, like, Lord have mercy.
And
So I just don't. I don't want to deceive myself by taking a hard stance unless I know.
do you believe it's possible to know if you're a son of God or not?
Possibly.
You
Yeah.
believe that's possible?
It's possible. I believe that could be the case, but I just don't know. I just don't know.
So
if you can know.
So when I ask you if you're a son of God, are you saying now you don't know?
I said, I believe I know
That you are.
that I am a son of God. I believe that I know that I am a son of God, but I don't. I leave it open to discover if I am or I am not.
Because you're not sure, that's why you leave it open?
Right. Well, no. Like last example, like if I say I'm a son of God and I'm it, and then I have my mind made up that I'm it, and then when someone tries to tell me like, oh, you're not it because A, B, and C, and say if those are like real reasons.
Right.
But if my mind's made up, then I can't be led to what is really right if I'm wrong.
Oh, so you may be wrong about being a son of God?
You just never know. That's how I think of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if your father, your earthly father walked in this room right now,
Right.
and I said, Joel, are you a son of that man?
Right.
And what would you say? I don't know.
Let me see some DNA. I believe he is, but I need DNA.
Amazing. What do you think, Chris? Are you a son of God?
Most definitely.
And why do you say most definitely?
Most definitely because being a son of God, all these Christians in the room here with us today, all the handful of us that are here.
Have your have Esteban come here. I gotta ask him.
Being, I think I can maybe add on to what
So you
Frankie
said
was
yes,
saying about
definitely.
being, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Frankie, possibly James also says Christ-like. He is the Son of God, and he was on the earth. He was perfect. He did what was right. He told the truth, and I also do those things.
Amazing.
And so, I am reborn of the Spirit.
That's deep.
And yeah, that makes me, my spirit being reborn, born of the Father. I am a son of God.
Had you thought about this question before I made it a biblical question?
No.
Had you thought about if you were a son of God or not?
Not in that sense. I more maybe thought about, am I a Christian, and what is a Christian?
Oh, okay.
But I had never thought about it in the sense that I explained it. When you're a son of God, you're reborn in the Spirit. I had never really thought of it in those terms.
Oh, I see.
Mostly just like, what is it?
Oh, okay.
Are you a Christian or not?
Interesting. Esteban. Good morning.
Morning.
So, are you a son of God?
Yeah, I believe so.
And why do you believe that?
Like I was saying last week, I think like that, for me at least, it's like giving up my own like decisions and will. And like, I don't know, I guess like, I feel like I was like growing up, I was watching my parents and stuff like that, my family, I was like, you kind of learn how to do things a certain way. You know, you have like a pattern of doing things. So for me, it's like breaking that pattern and then kind of like started like following what God says to do instead. Like for my coworkers, I always use this example. It's like, you know, they do a lot of stuff that, you know, could get anyone mad, but instead of overreacting, I kind of take my time to, I kind of don't judge them, don't get angry at them, and then,
You don't have any anger at all now?
I do, but I don't like go with it anymore.
Oh, I see.
Like God tells you to forgive, and like 70 times, like 7 times, that means like always forgive.
How many times?
70 times 7.
How many? That's
That's a lot.
140.
That's like almost 1,000. I don't know.
1,400 times.
That's a lot of times.
How many more you have left?
I think I passed it already.
Amazing.
But basically, you know, just and like I used to, for example, like with my coworkers when they used to do something like crazy, I used to have like this thoughts coming into my mind or like this feelings of like, oh, they'll get what they deserve or whatever like that, kind of like revengeful and a little bit like, I wouldn't wish harm, but I'm like, oh, someone will correct them, but now I kind of just wish like the best for them. That's like a good example of like how my mentality has changed. And and I feel like those thoughts and those, like, just those feelings used to make me bitter and angry and like stressed out. And now they're gone, I feel like a lot happier all the time. And
Had you thought about this before, if you were a son of God, before I made it a biblical question?
a little bit, but not the way that I am now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, sir. James, you have some calls for me? Oh, okay.
When I was a child, I remember I was more in tuned, and I think I used to talk to God, or I thought I did. And I think I was closer to that than I am now. And so now, having good parents is so important, because you can kind of, you look at your father like a type of God in a way. And so to get to, for me, I look at Christ and look at his life and read stories about his life. And so by me, being able to see that, it humbles me. And
So you are a Christian, but you are Christ-like, but not a son of God.
I can't see that. I don't see it yet. Maybe I'll see it one day. It'll be revealed to me.
Oh, okay.
I see Christ, and I see his life and his example, but I don't really see it in a way of like my physical father here on earth.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see that. I'm not able to see it. It
Why
hasn't
not?
been revealed to me yet.
Oh, it has been revealed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
James, report. Are you a son of God? Because you and Frankie sound like y'all went to the same church growing up.
Catholic.
He's Christ-like too.
I didn't say I was. I don't know. But I do have responses.
You say you don't know?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't know if you're a son of God?
Correct.
Are you still Christ-like?
I never said I was.
You said on the radio. Didn't you say that, Chris?
No, I said that's what a Christian is.
Didn't you say that one time, Joe?
I said that's the answer to what a
Oh, that's
Christian
what a Christian is.
Yeah.
You didn't say you were that way.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I said the Bible says.
a Christian is to be Christ-like.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
He redeemed you.
Joe on YouTube says, I see Francisco as a son of God for sure.
But how about, does Joe see himself as a son of God? I want to know, do you see yourself as a son or daughter of God, in case of, the ladies?
DeLovely says she says, I am the daughter of God. I may be the black sheep of the family because I am not perfect, but we are all made in the image of God.
And she's not perfect?
Right.
Okay.
And then Eric, well, I don't know if, stop me if this is bad, but Eric.
Well, James, does it relate to fellowshipping and all that?
It relates. She says, never mind, I'll skip it. You're right. Sing, Pray, Love says Joelle is definitely a son of God. I can see it in her.
Is Sing, Pray, Love a son of God?
She is a daughter of God.
I mean, a daughter, it's a lady. And she is, she says she's a daughter of God.
No, but somebody does say that.
Does Sing, Pray, Love say
She didn't say.
But I'm not asking about Joel or somebody else. I'm asking about you. Do you see yourself as a son / or daughter of God? That's my question, folks. Not about Joel or Francisco. I want you to know yourself. Do you see yourself that way?
Dmitriev gave a super chat and said, I've never really thought about it, but yes, I do see myself as a son of God, meaning the true father. It is easier for me to understand not knowing my dad.
Okay.
And then Lin Yin Chin says, employees are confused, rambling words but no sense of meaning, just decorative noise like mama taught them. Following Christ equals son of God. Written in the Bible it is. Jedi they are not. What a mess. He said that before
I don't
Chris.
understand that.
He said that the employees are confused.
Does that person see themselves as a son of God? How come people not talking about themselves?
Jib Jab,
That Lim Chain Lee?
Lin Yin Chin didn't answer.
Oh, they didn't answer about themselves. Oh, okay.
Jib Jab says, Jesse, my answer, as long as you do not harbor anger and resentment for your fellow man or woman, but discernment and speak up with the truth, I would consider anyone to be a son or daughter of God.
How about themselves?
I don't see where he answered it.
He didn't answer. Why y'all won't answer about you? I want to know about you, not someone else. Take your eyes off others and look at yourself. We have phone calls?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get to Chris in Costa Rica.
Chris, welcome to church.
Hey, Jesse, how's it going, bro?
All is well, Chris. How are you?
All is well as well.
Good.
Hey, Jesse, two things. Number one, I do see myself as a son of God
And what does that look like?
because I don't doubt him. I have 100% faith in him. I love him. I love my earthly father as well. So I know that he takes care of me just like a little kid knows without really knowing, without consciously thinking about it. They just know that their parents are going to take care of them, or their father's going to take care of them. I know that my father's taking care of me, so I know I'm his son.
And so had you thought about this prior to it becoming a biblical question?
Yeah, I thought about it extensively, and I knew that answer immediately when I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm the son of God because of that.
Amazing. Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for your input on that.
Yeah. Oh, and another
right.
thing is, I'm visiting my mother now, and as soon as I came and visited her, we were talking about the whole Chinese virus thing, and I told her this whole thing is a hoax. This is just a common flu, and I told her that the evidence of it is in the what is it? The American Medical.
Hey, Chris, just hold that for radio. I just want to make sure I get to everybody. It's church today, so we'll do that political stuff on the air, on the radio.
Okay.
All right?
Sounds good. All right,
Okay.
thanks, brother.
All right, thanks
Take
for the input, though, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Okay,
God bless.
you too.
Lin Yan Chin did answer now. He says, yes, I am a son of God, for I follow Christ. And Crystal A says, I am a son of God because I'm always improving to become as...
What does that mean, yes, I am, because I follow Christ? How do you follow Christ and that makes you a son of God? Lin Yang Ching, call in. Because I want to know what that means that you follow Christ and that makes you a son of God. All right? 'Cause that's a very interesting statement.
Crystal A says, I am a son of God because I'm always improving to become as perfect as my Father.
All right?
Jib Jab says, yes, I am a son of God. So, finally getting their questions
I
answered.
know everybody responded about everybody else and not themselves. Thank you for that. Because I want you really to think about this. I have heard, not just on the radio, but I have heard some amazing things about this question. And I realized a lot from hearing the feedback about it. Did you want to say something about it? You had your hand, Frank? Go ahead.
So, reading the stories in the Bible, sometimes I get into my imagination or my mind, which is not good, and I see how the saints are in Christ are perfect, and it brings guilt to me, and it makes me think that I can't be like them, can't be Christ-like.
But I thought you said you were a follower of Christ.
I said that sometimes I get into my imagination, I start thinking about it.
I know, but earlier did you say you were a follower of Christ?
Yes, I follow Christ.
How do you follow Christ? What does that mean?
First, to have love for repentance, and then to have love for your fellow man.
And that's what it means to follow Christ?
Yeah, just off the top of my head right now, that's what I can think about.
Oh,
I'm
you just
sure there's other
come out of your
Bible
head,
stuff.
boy.
I mean, that's all I got. I mean, if you give me 5 minutes, I can go to. I'll go to the book and bring you some verses.
Does Christ say to follow him?
He says what I got out of it is to be an example like Christ.
I know,
be
but did he
Christ-like.
say to follow him?
I can't think off the top of my head.
But where did you get that from then, that you're a follower of Christ?
to be Christ-like. He came as an example, like I told you, mentioned before. I see my father. My father did things in life.
I know.
So
Right.
I hear Christ, and I want to do and be like Christ. I want to be
And so you
Christ-like.
hear Christ saying certain things.
Yes.
And when you hear, you try to do it too.
Yes.
Oh, and that way you're following him.
Well, in my mind, yes. In my
Oh, okay.
mind, in my imagination, because truly the Father has to change you, right? He has to wash you. Really, God in heaven, okay, who I can't see, I don't understand, never seen him, never met him. I've heard about him from people and the Bible. From that, I get an idea of, okay, I should be Christ-like and live his life, the way he lived his life by example.
And does Christ say be Christ-like? Where did that come from?
No, it came from the others who knew him.
Who?
The Apostle Paul.
They said to be Christ-like.
To be Christ-like. They were like Christ-like. They were Christ-like.
But they didn't say to be that way, right?
I can't think off the top of my
Oh,
head.
okay.
No.
All right. Interesting. Yes. Thank you, man.
A. Owens gives a super chat and says, I don't follow Christ. I am agnostic. But I live by those principles of being a good man. And I agree with you 99%.
You don't follow Christ, but you live those principles to be a good man.
Right.
I don't know what that means.
Well, he's agnostic. He doesn't believe in God.
And so how can you live those principles if you don't believe in God?
But he lives he agrees with 99% of the principles that you say.
But how can you live them, though, without believing in God?
I don't know. Maybe he could call in once we have some lines freed up.
888-77. This is so good. I can't wait to get the folks back in the house. 888-7753-773.
Let's get to Linda in Los Angeles, California on the line.
Hey, Linda. Welcome to church.
Hi, Jesse. How are you?
All is well. So are you a daughter of God?
So talking about that, what came to this week in my mind by reading scriptures, I read this verse. Well, I think it was Luke, and it was saying something about how Mary was touched by the Holy Spirit or something. And then that's how Christ was born, right? Because she was a virgin.
But let me ask, before you get to that, you're a Christian, right?
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
Are you a daughter of God?
Not yet. I think I still need to be born again. Like, I think that when people is born again through the Spirit, through this Holy Spirit, that's when they take over as son of God or daughter.
So how did you become a Christian if you're not born again?
I just think it's the idea of wanting to get there, like the idea of, okay, I want to be a Christian person. I want to.
You going to read the Bible first?
Yeah. Sorry?
No, I'm sorry. I was talking to you. So how did you become a Christian without being born again?
I don't think I think you truly become the son of God and a Christian. I think Christian is like a mentality, like, oh, this is Christianity, like this is being a Christian. Being the son of God, it's more than being a Christian. It's already being the family, like part of everything, part of his plan in a complete and perfect way. Because you are putting yourself based upon this thought of Christianity on to that level. Because of you're allowing the Holy Spirit to come to you and touch you in a way that there's no way back.
So, if I'm hearing you correct, you're not a daughter of God. You are a Christian, and you became how did you become a Christian?
So for me, I don't know if I am a Christian. I'm sorry if I said that wrong.
Oh, okay.
I want to be a better, like, let's say I want to completely be a Christian. I don't want to just have this oh, I want to be a Christian.
Right, right.
I want to be like, I want to get there. I want to really forgive. Really take that.
Have you done that
away
yet?
From me. I'm doing it. I forgot my mom. I forgot my dad. I feel way better, but I still get into my thoughts too much.
Right.
And sometimes I still overreact, and it's difficult for me, like to not like. I've gotten way better than I was before.
Yes.
But I do tend to overreact in some of mostly when I'm in my days, you know.
Yes. So when you believe your thoughts, do you overreact to believing your thoughts?
Yeah, exactly.
Stop doing that. Just don't overreact to them. Just be aware of them as much as possible. And because you're growing, you have to be patient with yourself and allow yourself to just grow. But if you overreact to your thoughts, knowing that they're not your own, that's what Satan wants you to do, because every time you overreact, you give him more control over you, and he will give you more and more thoughts. So
Satan is also making you believe that it's difficult.
I'm sorry?
Overreact.
So now?
I think Satan also makes you believe that it's difficult to not overreact, that it's impossible.
He does make you believe that, but that's a lie. You have to, and the more you practice being aware of him, the less and less you will find yourself overreacting, and then you'll get to the point where you won't overreact at all.
Yeah.
So just be aware of those thoughts, and when he brings them to you, if you don't see a thought and you find yourself feeling a certain way because you think and feel, you can't feel unless you think. So when you notice you're feeling that way, just relax and allow yourself to go through that, and that's how you grow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there for sure. Thank goodness I have a great husband that helps me.
Good.
Through it. It don't like telling me anything, but by his example.
Right on.
When, with this whole coronavirus, like losing jobs and everything, I think I thought I wasn't overreacting until this came in.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, wow, I'm actually not done with my overreaction.
Are you doing the silent prayer?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, stay with that. Don't judge yourself. Just be patient. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing that important that you should get mad about or overreact to. Nothing.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Thank you for your call. That's amazing.
Thank you, too.
All right.
Have a good day.
All right, you too now. Okay, who else there? Amazing.
Maria our friend Maria.
Hey, Maria.
She asks.
Is she on the phone?
No, she's asking what's the difference between a child of God and a son of God.
I can't say yet. I'm going to get into that in a minute.
Okay.
But I want to know, Maria, are you a daughter of God?
John X:15 says, I recognize God as my father and my dad as my dad. And he asks, what is your thought?
Who said that?
John X:15.
Is that the Bible?
No, he's a person who gave a super chat.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he said, what now?
I recognize God as my father and my dad as my dad. What is your thought?
That you recognize God as your father and your earthly father as your dad? Mm-hmm. I don't know the difference.
Okay.
I don't know the difference. Call in. This is such a good question. I can't wait to share with you in a minute what I really realized from this question, and especially from Christians. Okay.
Before we get back to calls, Wiggins Success says...
Thank you all for the super chat, too. I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah. Wiggins Success says, I am a son of God because he is my creator. When you know who your father is, there's no doubt about it. And Sing, Pray, Love answered the question and says, I am a daughter of God because he guides me.
But God created all things and all people, right?
Yeah.
And yet, all people are not sons and daughters of God.
True.
So it can't be just because he created you, because he created all things, everybody. And it is clear that everybody is not a son or a daughter of God. So call in on that one. I want to hear what you have to say. Okay.
Sing, Pray, Love says, I am a daughter of God because he guides me. He reveals things to me. He corrects me, and I have faith in God. And not any God, but the God of Christ.
Okay, I appreciate that. Cool.
Okay, back to some calls. Eric in Los Angeles.
Hey, Eric, welcome to church.
Hi, Jesse. Thank you.
All right. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, sir. How are you doing?
Amazing. So are you a son of God?
Yes, I am a son of God.
And why do you say that? What does that look like? How do you know you are?
I agree with a lot of what some people are saying.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I'm now that I've called in, I'm going to put it into words well. I think it's my experience, right? It's I know, right? How do I know? I know the difference, I guess, maybe. I guess before I wasn't.
Do you know the difference or you don't know the difference?
Creator, but I just did my own thing, and I wasn't attentive to him. So, since I forgave my mother, that was a really big thing. You know, I came to church the first time. You told me, go forgive your mother. So I did. And my life changed.
Eric, had you thought about this before I made...
It's change on paper. It's not something that I can really describe easily. It's just, I'm so much more peaceful, right? And so I think that's what gives me the conviction to say, I'm a son of God, because like one of the callers said, right, he's my creator.
But he created all people.
And he's bringing me back to
Can
him.
Eric hear me? Eric.
Yes.
God created all people, but all people are not the sons and daughters of God.
Right.
So if you're walking down, let's say you're walking down the road in Europe, and you had on a long white robe and a Jesus beard, and someone asked, are you a son of God? What would you say?
I'd say yes.
And they would say, well, how do you know you are? You would say what?
I might then just ask them a question or something. I don't know if I would start just saying stuff, right? I'd maybe want to find out a bit more about them and what their question is.
But Jesus said that he was a son of the Father. He was a son of God. Why can't you answer that question if they ask you that?
Well, actually, then I would say, well, you know, something that is always interesting to me is that some people say that Jesus is God.
No, but they're asking you. They're asking you if you are a son of God, and you wouldn't answer that.
No, I would.
What would you say?
I would answer that. But you asked me, what would I say? I would say yes.
Okay,
Then
and they want to know, how do you know you are? What would you say?
Wow. I think I would just say I know. I can't. Maybe it's difficult to explain, and I would want to have a conversation with that person. I don't know if I could just come up with a straight, casual answer.
Then how are you sure then that you are a son of God if you don't know how? How you know? And it's not a test, it's just a fellowship.
Well, allow me to make an allegory. We have, what's that thing when someone doesn't want their parent anymore? Disowning, right? So parents can disown their children, and children can disown their parents. And I don't think God disowns his children, does this permanent thing like, oh, not my child anymore. They've gone with Satan, game over.
Well, he says that you're not of me, you're of your father, the devil.
Right. So what you're asking the question of what distinguishes a child of God from a...
No, I'm asking you, how do you know? I'm asking you, how, and the reason I'm asking it this way because I want people to know that they know that they know. Not because someone said it, but they know themselves, and not just quoting other people, but they know themselves. And that's why I ask these questions. So you said, yes, I am a son of God. And,
Can I ask you a quick question?
So the stranger want to know, how do you know for sure? And you say?
Well, I might say, well, are you alive? To which they would respond, yes, I guess. And I would say, well, how do you know for sure? Or something. You know what I mean? How do I know for sure that I'm a son of God?
Are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Oh.
It's knowledge from within, right? You don't find it in the world. You have to look within. You have to spend time, get to know yourself.
And that's how you know you're a son of God?
You got me. I would say that is the way to come to know, but
This
maybe
is so
that's not
interesting,
how
huh?
I know God, right?
Isn't this an amazing question?
Yes, Jesse, that's amazing.
Yes, Jesse, that's an amazing. Do you think this is an amazing question, Francisco? It is. The follower of Christ? Okay. Go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
Revelation.
What about it?
Well, I guess you only know something is true when it's revealed to you. Or I only know something is true when it's revealed to me.
Did you know that you could not tell anyone how you know you're a son of God?
Of course I did. That's why I called, because I knew you were going to get me to have a chat about it. And I like talking, but you make it awkward. It's good. That's a difficult question.
Let me just take it from a few more people, then I'll put my 2 cents in.
Thank
But
you, Jesse.
I really want to hear from the folks, because I don't like just telling people things and then they'll just start repeating me and not knowing for themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, can I ask a quick question?
Yes, sir.
Just occurred to me while you were speaking. So, because it seems to me that one thing is to know something, and then another thing is to be able to put it into words, right?
Well, if you know something, you would know how to put it into words. But if you just know it because someone said it, then you don't know how to put it in words.
Right. Because it's funny, because I meet people all the time and have this kind of conversation with them.
Yes.
But I've never actually met someone before you who just directly asked me, "Are you a son of God?" So it's kind of like a hypothetical. I don't know. I'd have to wait and see. But thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely, man. Thank you. It was a really good conversation. Thank you.
You got to open the church, Jesse.
I think we're going to do it next Sunday, I think.
Well,
I was supposed to have an amazing announcement for you guys today or earlier this week, but I didn't get the answer yet, so I'm still waiting on it. I may get it done this week, I hope.
Well, look forward to that as well.
Yes, sir.
All the best.
All right, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay.
All right. Real quick question from somebody. Jesse, when a man is born again and God killed his ego, is it needed for this man to do the silent prayer, and why?
Well, once you grow in it, you will find yourself living in that way. You wouldn't be lost all in your imagination. That's why God said, bring every thought into captivity. And when you're living that way, you're going to always be, once you get to that point, you're going to always be in the presence of God. But if you're in your mind, you cannot be in the presence of God, all right? So you will get to the point where Satan will have to flee, that's for sure.
Okay, let's get to Levon, I think, in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Hey, Levon, welcome to church.
Hey, thank you.
All right. Are you a son of God?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And how do you know?
Well, I've discovered that through him, we can open ourselves to understand and accept the truth about our humanity, which, from my understanding of that, is it's a set of strengths and vulnerabilities. Now, with this, we can know about our human biology.
Well, I'm just talking about you, not we. How do you know? You said, yes, you are a son of God. How do you know you, Levon, are a son of God?
I know I'm a son of God because I've been able to understand my strengths and vulnerabilities through him.
What are your strengths and vulnerabilities? What do you mean by that?
How my human body works.
What do you mean by that?
Works. So how it relates to our spirituality through our breath and prayer, exercise, courage to change for the better, how to seek the truth and have commitment and brave the cold, and then how to learn and express myself through song and through music in a way that is not anecdotal but is infinite to a human essence. So that's how I know I'm a son of God.
Amazing. Thank you, Levon, for the input on that, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you, guys.
Let me ask, had you
Have a great
thought
day.
about this question before it became a biblical question?
Have I thought about it?
Yeah, have you wondered to yourself, am I a son of God or not? Had you thought about that before?
I would say from watching your show and listening to you and being guided by my experiences in life, I have thought about that once or twice. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I'm a songwriter, so it's kind of just come along through my experience.
Right on. Have you sent us any music to play?
I did send a song over to Nick one time.
Oh, okay.
It's called "Killing on Christmas Eve."
All right.
All right.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. All
I'll
right.
have more for you guys later.
Oh, okay. Absolutely.
All right, y'all take care.
Thank you, LeVar. Yes, Frankie. Frankie wants to say something.
So it has to do with ego. God didn't create the ego. The ego is what grew in mankind when they were young, and it's the pride of life.
I know, but
And
we were just talking about, are you a son of God? I don't know what you're talking about right now.
Oh, it was just the previous caller. He talked about God killing the ego.
Oh.
And so you have to suffer that out and let it die, and then that's when you can become Christ-like.
Christ-like. We're talking about the son.
The Son.
Go back and read the Bible and see if you're a son. We know about you, James, the Christ-like thing.
We have one caller that says we have too many gay Christians. Do you want to talk to that?
No.
On that? Kurt, call back tomorrow on the radio
Yeah,
show.
on the radio, Kurt. We want to know, are you a son of God? Not about anybody else today, but this is such an important question. And when I asked it as a biblical question, I didn't realize how important it really is until I started getting feedback. And then I started remembering why it is so important and why you get different answers like this. So I really just want to talk about that.
Okay, so
Unless somebody got some stuff you're dealing with and you need some advice on, of course we'll talk about that too. It is fellowship.
okay. Kurt from Houston, Texas says, okay, I'll do the biblical question. So let's go ahead and get to Kurt.
Hey,
Houston.
Kurt, welcome to church.
Hey, man, how you doing? I'm a big fan of yours, man. God bless you.
Thank you, Kurt. I appreciate that, man. Are you a son of God?
Absolutely.
And how do you know?
Because I turned from my sins and I now walk with God.
You turn from your sins. Had you thought about this before it became a biblical question, Kurt?
Oh, absolutely. And Christ-like ain't in the Bible. So next person who tell you that, tell them to go find that in the Bible.
So Christ-like is not in the Bible?
No.
So where did the Christians get that term from?
Christian comes from the term in the Bible, which is they were followers and doers of Christ. And they were first called Christians in Antioch.
But why do the Christians call it Christ-like? Why did they start saying
Because
that?
their pastor tells them that. They listen to their pastor. You hear all I'm talking about that? They don't even know. All these people are going to hell. These are Christians. They don't even know that they got to turn from their sin and walk with God. Who is teaching these people? That's what I want to know. Because they're all being taught that go to hell.
Kurt, I appreciate your input, man. That's deep.
God bless you, my friend. Everybody repent, turn from your sins, and find Jesus Christ. That's how you become a child of God.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Interesting. So I'm going to need my producer here in a minute. At the top of this hour, have my producer come. Yes.
Okay.
Nick.
All right. Couple of super chats. Alana Banana Canada
Hey, Atlanta Banana in Canada.
says, I know I am a daughter of God based on my revelations. It feels like a parent-child relationship to me. P.S. My nephew was just born during our church stream. Thanks, Jesse.
Right on. You're welcome. And thanks for the input and the super chat, right?
Yeah.
And the super chat.
And then the PR guy says, I almost lost it. How do you...
What did the PR guy say?
He asks, how do you know when the ego has completely died?
You will know because you won't be motivated by it at all when it dies. That's a good question. That's a very good question, man. Mr. PR guy. Yeah, you would know because you won't be motivated by it at all. All right?
Taylor Brownlow gave a super chat and says, as I see my biological father's DNA in me, so also I see clear evidence of my heavenly father's DNA in me. That's how I know I am a son of God.
Amazing. Thanks for the input and the support.
Ann in Mississippi is on the line.
Let me
Ann.
ask my PR guy
okay.
first, and then I'll take Ann.
You mean your producer?
I mean my producer. Nick, my producer.
Hey.
The anchor baby.
Don't be talking about my mama.
6 inches.
Oh.
Yeah, we have to social distance.
It'll also blow out the audio.
Yeah, I know. Are you a son of God?
So you asked me this on the radio, and this is where I'm at with this question, like just purely honestly. And where I'm at with this is I have a suspicion that I suspect I am. I have a sneaking suspicion.
And why do you
Because...
So you don't know for sure?
Well, a few things. So I guess initially not really for sure. Or what I was saying on the radio.
So are you a son of God?
Well, I wasn't sure of it, right? What I was saying on the radio was that I don't want to like put that on myself, like say that I am.
And why not?
Because when I would say that I am, I find myself being convinced otherwise by thoughts or whatever. And then when I'm convinced in that way, I'm like, oh, everything that I was thinking about myself is all gone. And I'm like, I'm not the son of God or going through life and learning. And so I didn't want to like claim it or whatever. And so that's where I was with that.
Yeah.
And I found interesting what you said about what if your father were to walk into the room? Wouldn't you say that would you say you're his son?
That's right.
Because you were wondering why do I have such a problem saying that I'm a son of God? And again, it's because
if Mr. Gonzalez walked in this room and you looked up and you're like, oh, that's my daddy.
I wouldn't even.
I'm like, are you a son of this man? You would say yes.
I wouldn't even question.
You wouldn't question it at all.
And it wouldn't be such a like big deal.
And so why is it a big deal about if you're a son or daughter of God?
Okay, to answer that question is because I look at my life, and when I look at my life, I'm just like, wow, there's something guiding me. It really does seem like I'm a son of God. But then I'll find myself in these moments that I'm thinking I'm doing something or thinking something, and I think to myself, probably because I've heard you say it, I've maybe been taught it, because I'll start to say to myself, but a son of God shouldn't be this way, or wouldn't a son of God have a sound mind? Wouldn't a son of God? And so then when I think
You're
those
thinking that, or that's what Satan telling you?
That's a good question. It's probably Satan, but it's good that you bring that up. And so those moments make me think, maybe I don't want to call myself one. And that's where I'm at with that, like, honestly.
Oh, okay. Amazing.
Can I quickly say something about what you said about your father walking in the room?
Yes.
Stop me if I'm going too far, but when you said that, I thought how simple that is and how, like, beautiful it is.
Right.
Like, so simple and easy. Because if my dad walked in, I'd be like, that's my dad. I wouldn't even think about it.
Right.
And even if I did something wrong, I don't stop being his son.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's deep.
I don't just stop being his son because I did something he doesn't like.
Right.
And I still want to be like him, and he's still my dad.
Yeah.
So
that's deep.
That's where I'm at with that.
Are you growing a Mexican fro?
Yeah, big time.
Is it because of the Chinese virus?
Yeah, I have an excuse, and I can grow out this awesome curls I got going.
He growing a Mexican fro.
You guys are going to be
Not
surprised.
Not an afro, but a black and brown fro.
It can still be an Amerifro.
Yeah. It could be a African fro.
a Merexi fro.
Yeah. Thank you, Nick.
Of course.
I appreciate it. Yes, James.
Bob Tim gave a super chat and said, God doesn't care what we do, where we go, what we wear or drive. He only requires we be 100% man or 100% woman. We are 100% his children, no gray. Tatiana.
So what now?
He said, God doesn't care what we do, where we go, what we wear or drive. He only requires we be 100% man or 100% woman.
How does that reflect if you're a son? How is that the answer to if he sees himself, is that a man talking?
Yeah.
If he sees himself as a son, is he a son of God? Not see yourself. But are you a son of God? Did he answer, is he respond to that?
He says we are 100% his children.
But all people are not the children of God.
All right. I can't follow up with him because he's not here.
Oh, okay.
Tatiana
All right.
Tatiana Gusenova, sorry, says, I am a daughter of God. It becomes obvious in the stillness during the silent prayer. I'm in the presence of God in that silence.
Amazing. Thank you for your response and support, guys and ladies. Okay.
And before we get to the more callers, Joe says, I am a son of God, and how amazing it is to know that I know that God sees me as his son.
Amazing. But he doesn't say how he know, right?
Right.
And see, that's the only thing I'd like to know. If you can, in a little short line, especially those who say, yes, I am son of God or daughter, and you're texting me or
Super chat or whatever.
super chat, just say, this is how I know. Oh, one or two words, not many, okay? It's so interesting. Okay.
Let's get to Ann out of Mississippi.
Hey, Ann, welcome to church.
Hey, Jesse.
Are you a daughter of God?
Yes, I am.
And how do you know? What does that look like? How do you know?
Well, it's kind of like what you and Nick were talking about. That's what I was going to share is I know who my earthly father is.
Right.
And I know that God is my heavenly father. And either he's my father or Satan's my father. And Satan's not my father.
And so how do you know that? So I understand how you know the earthly father is your father, but how do you know God is your father?
Well, it's kind of like what you guys were saying. If my dad walked in the room, that's kind of what it feels like. It's like you relate to him, you look like him, you act like him, you take on mannerisms, and it's not something I know in my brain, in my head.
Yeah.
It's more like something I know inside of me.
That's
in
deep.
My heart.
Had you thought about this before it became a biblical question?
I have. Yeah, I have.
That's amazing. I'm glad that you have. I really appreciate your input on it too.
Well, thanks for taking my call.
Any other question about anything else?
No, it's a great question though, because it's deep. It's like, well, how do you prove that? Like I guess I could prove my earthly father is my dad by a birth certificate, or
Oh, you look like him or something.
Yeah.
And so how do you prove you're a daughter of God?
Yeah, I mean, I can't prove it. It's something that I believe the Holy Spirit has revealed to me.
Right. When you were growing
up, I see it.
When you were growing up, did you grow up as a Christian?
Well, kind of. My parents, they took us to church, but they kind of don't really. I don't think my mom's a believer in Jesus Christ anymore. I think she believes more of that there's a spirit, but I don't think she's not really a strong believer.
And growing up around your parents and going to church, in your entire life, have you ever heard a Christian say that he or she was a son or a daughter of God? Have you ever heard anyone say that?
Yeah, I have heard that term.
Oh, have you heard follower of Christ, or you heard son or daughter?
I've heard both those terms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you for your input. That's amazing.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
All right, let's get to... Oh, you know what? Hold on. Before we get to more calls, Simon Manuel gave a super chat and said, been listening for almost a year now. If there's one thing the lockdown has done, I now know for myself that I need to forgive my parents.
Right on. Go do it. Once you see that you need to do it, you got it. Go do it, and the rest is easy. All right? The hardest thing you ever will have to do, especially with the mother, forgive your mother. Because most adult men and women are afraid of their mothers, and they'll make up excuses. Oh, I forgave in my heart. Or I don't want to hurt her feelings. Or something, right? because they have that, they're afraid to go do it, so they have all these excuses, which come from Satan anyway, about why not to do it. But it's the best thing, it's the right thing to do for yourself, is to go and forgive. That's why God said, go and forgive. He didn't say, do it in your heart. He didn't say, worry about her feelings. He said, go and forgive, and I will forgive you. All right? So go do it when you get a chance. I know a lot of people are locked down from the Chinese virus, but go and do it.
Mighty Min has given a couple of super chats,
yes.
And he asks, I don't know if this pertains to him, but it might. He says, if a man married a divorced woman who has children,
man, what a mess.
20 years ago he did that. Should he divorce her now? The man was told at the time that the woman was divorced because of sexual immorality. I don't know. I'm assuming that means...
Her husband cheated on her?
Means, yeah, something like that.
Oh. You know what? I can't tell you if you should, after all these years of being with this person for 20 years, you should know it for yourself, so I'm not sure. If you seek the kingdom of God in the right way, you will see the right thing to do. I do know that in that fallen state, we get into all kinds of things, right? Because we're falling away from God. But I can't tell you that. Plus, I would have to talk to you on the phone or something, in person or on the phone, to get a little bit more insight on what is going on. But you have to know that for yourself, all right? There was a caller into the show this week, and I believe it was this week, and he said that he had a little money to buy a little piece of land, and that he also had a child out of wedlock, I believe, and the mother didn't want him to see his child, and so he would have to go to court to try to make that happen or go back to court or something. I don't remember all the details. And he asked me, do you think I should buy the land or use the money to go to court to have visitation right with my child? And Franklin, what would you have said if that question were put upon you? This is Francisco. Y'all heard him speak here before.
Obviously, the more important thing is you got to go to court to see your child. That's your son or daughter.
So he had the option to buy some land. He saved us some money to buy some land. I don't know if he saved it, but he had a little bit of money. Or to see his child. You said see his child?
See his child.
Oh, okay.
Opportunities will knock on the door again.
Oh, okay. I told him to buy the land because if you have a child by a woman who is refusing to let you see your child, that's an evil woman, period. And so if you go to court to see it, especially in America courts today, they're not for the men at all, on the side of the fathers. You're not only going to waste your money giving it to the lawyers and giving it to the court, and if you get the visitation right, you're still going to have to fight with this evil woman into seeing your child, because she's going to try to dictate when, where, and how, and what, and all that kind of stuff. And if you don't do it her way, you most likely won't see your child. So just think about it. If you're already with an evil woman, because it's evil to keep fathers, I mean, that shouldn't even be up for a discussion. How do you keep a father? It's your child, not really her child. She just carried the bucket of water until you poured it out. But you put the water in the bucket. So it's really your child. But just think about that. How do you put in your mind that I'm going to keep this child from seeing his or her father, or this father from seeing his or her child? That doesn't, you gotta be evil. And so if the guy had wasted his money on going to court, not only is he not gonna be able to see his child, he also gonna lose the opportunity to buy the land. So I told him to buy the land, seek the kingdom, do what's right. And when that child grow old, if that child want to come and work it out, you can. I've seen that happen over and over again with people. But I wouldn't waste my money on this. I wouldn't waste my money on a woman who was not letting me see my child. I wouldn't even have another child with her, because that's an evil woman, to make the child suffer and make the father suffer for her own ego gratification, because that's what's going on, serving Satan. Okay. What do you think about that?
I still fight.
You would still fight and lose the land?
It's not yours anyways. There'll be another piece of land tomorrow.
No. You got to buy the land.
Yeah, you lose the land.
So, and lose your money in the courts.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. All right.
Clown Moose gave a diamond early on and said, "No, I'd lose my job for speaking up. Beta, son of God." I think that means he's scared of speaking up. I'm guessing. Army Ann gave a diamond and said, "Yes, I'm a child of God, no doubt about it."
How you know Army Ann? Army Ann, right?
Yeah.
And Army Ann, type me back a note or just say, hey, here's how I know for sure. Because you're walking down the road and the light is shining and someone asks, are you a daughter of God? You're like, yes. How do you know? You'll be able to tell them, or you should be able to. So, Army Ann, type me a little note and thank for your support.
Soul Conscious gave a super chat and says, "Jesse, I am 100% of Son of God because he brought me back from the fallen state to his kingdom when I cried out to him."
Amazing. Thank you. Very, very interesting. We're going to do a couple more of those and then the phone call, and then I'll put my little 2 cents in and we'll move it on because time is running out here. It's amazing.
Robera, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, said, "Yes, Jesse, I'm a son of God, knowing that I have no control over nothing, living as a free man."
Amazing. Thank you.
And let's get to Adriana out of Houston, Texas on the line.
Is it Adriana?
Adriana?
Adriana, welcome to church.
Hi, Jesse. How are you?
All is well. How are you?
All is well.
Good. And so, are you a daughter of God?
Yes, I am a daughter of God.
And how do you know?
I know that because when I was a child, the same way that I yearned for my earthly father, now that I am older and I've woken up, is the same way that I yearn for my heavenly father. My spirit yearns for him.
And so, now that you're a daughter of God, is your spirit still yearning for him?
My spirit yearns for him constantly. Like, I know that when I'm going through rough times, I seek him, I do my prayer, and I allow him to work his way through my spirit.
And so being a daughter, and I'm just asking because the person down the road want to know. So now that you are a daughter, your spirit is still yearning for God. What does that feel like to be yearning for him and he's your father?
I can give you an example.
Okay.
When I was younger, the same way that I looked up to my earthly father to protect me, and when he failed, when him and my mother failed as parents, I pulled away from my earthly father, and that pulled me away from God.
Right.
And when I was able to see that, and I was able to come back and forgive them, I was able to find my way to God that way. And that's an example of how I know now that I'm a daughter of God.
Amazing. Had you thought about this question before it became a biblical question?
I had, when I was waking up, I started questioning myself, of course, and I thought about how I know that I'm a daughter of God because I had woken up.
Amazing. I really, really appreciate. Did you grow up as a Christian?
I did in the beginning. My parents would try and take me to church, and they believed in God, and they called themselves Christian, and that's how I grew up learning about him. But after a while, because of mistakes that my parents made, as I pulled away from them, I began to pull away from God as well.
Right. And while growing up, did you hear any man or woman say that they were a son or a daughter of God?
I heard that in the churches. I mostly heard, though, you should always be Christ-like. And I guess I never really understood that growing up and understood why they said that and thought that.
Yeah. I used to hear that too when I moved. I can't remember hearing that when I was growing up in Alabama, going to church down there. But I do remember when I moved out here to California and started going to some of the churches around town here, they used to say, be Christ-like. And I didn't really know what they meant, but as Francisco said earlier, they would read some quote in the Bible, what Christ did or what he said, or blah, blah, blah. And then they were suggesting that you be like that. Whatever they read about Christ in the Bible.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know what it meant either until the last 30 years or so.
Yeah, and Jesse, I just wanted to also just thank you so much for all that you do for me and for everyone around the world listening. You really helped me open up my eyes and see. And so I do just thank you for that.
You're totally welcome. I thank God. And I have to tell you, too, talking to young men, talking to men, mostly young and older men and women around the world, it's amazing to see and hear that the same spirit that caused everybody to fall away from the Father is to a different spirit, which is the same, to come back to the Father. It's the same thing. If you don't have perfect parents, 99.9% of the time you're going to fall away from the Father. But when you realize you're wrong for having that anger because you're playing God, 99.99% of the people come back to the Father. It's so interesting to see that. And it doesn't matter what color you are, male or female. It doesn't matter how poor or rich you are or whatever. It's the same spirit. You got to come back to the Father.
Yeah, and once I, was able to forgive my father and I came back to the Heavenly Father, it just really changed my life. It was so amazing. I got rid of all the anger and the emotions, and I was just really able to see clearly, and it's so amazing how my life has changed in such a quick period of time.
And you haven't, I love that. You're right. It doesn't take forever to change. You start changing just like that. You haven't seen anything. It's going to get better and better. I've been at it for 30 years now, 31 years really. But it gets better. You haven't seen anything yet. He loves you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you for your input on this, your fellowship with it, all right?
Yes, thank you. God bless you.
And God bless you. That's amazing.
Maria, our Maria.
Hey, our Maria.
I don't think I'm worthy of calling myself a daughter of God yet, she says.
Why not?
Well, she didn't say it. She didn't answer that part.
Why not? You know I'm going to have a follow-up for that. So type right back and tell me why not. You don't think you are worthy.
And Clint.
Our Clint?
Yes.
Lord. Let me hear what our Clint. Hey, Clint, welcome to church.
Clint says...
Oh, he's not on the phone?
No.
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Giving you false hope. I mean, I know that I am... Well, he says, I know that I am a son of God by knowing his voice. That's what he says.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Had you thought about this before, Clint, if you were a son of God or not?
Okay, let's get to Ingrid in Florida.
Hey, Ingrid, welcome to church.
Hi, Jesse. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to church.
Hey, okay. So I would like to answer your question, of course.
Are you a daughter of God?
So I believe that I am, although I think it's kind of hard to tell if there's like a measure on whether or not we can call ourselves one or not indefinitely.
Why do you think that?
Just, I don't know if because I consider myself like I'm 6'2", but I'm like an infant. I'm like a baby daughter. So, like, I'm growing in it. And so I think that through my intuition, I'm able to always hear when God is speaking to me, the Father,
right,
and when I'm not listening. But I think that I'm always aware. I love silence. I can sit in silence for hours.
Yes.
And so I think that I can hear when he's speaking to me. But just when I'm not listening, of course, we get reprimanded for that too. So that's why I don't know if I can say that I am a daughter of God yet, if I have to be perfect to call myself that or not. But it seems that no matter what, no matter how if I veer off the track, he brings me back just like effortlessly.
Right.
No matter how, like I can't fall.
Yes.
Like I can't.
That's amazing.
So I'm like, yeah, I think that I'm a daughter of God. But I think that I've been actually wanting to like ask you this question, but I'm just like, no. Because I've been like maybe like 3 years ago I started like learning about astrology, the zodiac and stuff like that.
Right.
And so that is what I was like kind of following, but I considered that to be one in the same with God, not separate, not better than or anything like that. And so, like, there's a Bible verse from Genesis. It said, and God said, let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons.
Right.
So I was, like, researching that, and I'm like, okay, well, the zodiac and all this stuff, like, it's definitely, like, of God. But then I'm just like, no. I just don't think that, I think that I'm serving two masters, if anything, because I'm having faith in horoscopes and maybe, like, what people are saying about the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and so, but yeah, lastly, I just think that I am one when we don't, like, we are that when we're not overthinking and when we're in the present. Like, you have changed my life forever when you, like, taught us about the present moment and how the devil cannot interfere with you when you're in the present. So in the present moment, I've noticed that, like, a lot of the times, although I'm a woman, regardless, like, I feel that I'm living in paradise on earth when I'm just listening to his voice in the present. I'm like, it's crazy. Like, okay, one little example really quick. There was a show that was playing on Hulu. It's called Sons of Anarchy. And the song of the show, the little song that plays every time at the beginning, it kind of sounded like a country Western song.
Yeah.
And so the lyrics was just like, you gotta look this life in the eye, right? And so as it was playing, I was like in the kitchen just like meditating on the things that God wants us to meditate on.
Right.
And my cat was just like sitting on the chair, and one eye was like kind of poking out from where she was sitting. So I'm just like playing with her, going back and forth. But I'm like sitting with the Father in the prayer closet. And so when I look at her, right, the timing that I did look at her, it was right when the song was saying, you gotta look this life in the eye. So like it was just one eye, and I was like, you had to be there, something. But I just think that, like, as when we're children of God, He's always with us, and there's just these divine happenings, like divine timings, perfect timing all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, this is paradise.
It is. It's amazing. It's amazing to be on earth, alive on earth, and living in paradise on earth. Most people don't know that paradise is on earth. They can't see that.
Yeah. So for that reason, I think that even though I know you ask us if we're still sinning, although we've forgiven our parents, and how is that the case?
Yes.
So I think that even if that's the case, and then I go to repent, they still happen. Like, the paradise is still happening. But when I'm angry, it's like He removes the kingdom away from me until.
Do you still sin?
I can't tell. I think, like, okay, so, I don't know. I think that I might act like I'm perfect a lot of the time.
Right.
But I'm willing to say when I'm wrong, and I know that I'm not above the truth.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? So for that reason, I agree with you when you ask what about you is not perfect. So I think that I'm perfect in being imperfect. So I don't know if I still sin.
Let me ask you this. Is it hard to say, do you feel fear or doubt or worry about saying, yes, I am a child of God? Do you feel afraid to just say that?
No.
Do you feel guilty to say it or unworthy to say it?
Yes.
And
that's the thing. Now I'm like, mm-hmm.
I'm sorry?
No, I was going to let you finish. You were asking, and why? Why do I feel that?
Yeah, why do you feel guilty of saying that or unworthy of saying it?
I think I'm still overcoming mama still, so the guilt, that emotion, the silly emotion.
Right.
I think that's what it is.
Amazing. That's interesting. Well, I
love
really,
you, Jesse.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm sorry. I just said I love you.
Oh, thank you very much. I love you too. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thanks for your input on this, all right?
Yes, I'm ready to hear your answer.
I'm about to do it now. I'll let Jane want me. But thank you so much. Okay, Jay?
One quick thing.
Okay.
I got a follow-up text from Maria.
Okay, Maria.
She says, I guess I am answering my initial question. I consider myself a child of God, but not a daughter of God.
What's the difference?
But she didn't.
Aren't you a child daughter? I mean, if you're like a female, that would make you, and then when you're a little girl, you're a child.
Right.
And then with your earthly father, would you say, I don't understand that. How did it work?
I'm not sure.
What's the difference between a child of God and a daughter of God?
She asked you that, and you said you'll get to it later.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay, but she said she feels like a child. She believes she's a child, but not a daughter.
Right.
Because she felt unworthy.
Correct. Yes, she said, I don't think I am worthy of calling myself a daughter of God yet.
But a child, she feel worthy to call.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So, any other calls about this?
Yeah, lots of calls still.
About this?
Right.
Oh, man.
Do you want to get to a few, or do you want to?
I'll do 5 more minutes of calls.
Okay.
And chat, super chats and all that.
Sounds good.
And then at the bottom of this, I'll put my little 2 cents in, do what you want with it. But this there have been so many biblical questions that's been absolutely amazing. I think this may top, because I've realized so much from it. I think this may outdo all of them because of the input that I've been receiving, especially from Christians. Frankie, you can leave that door open and tell Doug to come in. He wanted to have some more input on this because I'm going to wind down at the bottom of this hour. Go ahead.
By the way, Army Ann followed up with another diamond, answering why she has no doubt that she's a child of God.
Okay, good. Thank you, Army Ann.
She says her faith and belief in him.
Interesting.
Nice.
I appreciate that. That is amazing. This has been one of the I asked other regular kind of Christians that don't even know about the radio show the same question, and it was interesting the responses I got from it. It's just been so amazing. I learned so much. Have you realized anything from this question about the way that people respond or what they think or what you think about it?
Well, I mean, it seems very similar to all your other biblical questions, that they're so simple that they stump people.
Oh, that's what it is, because God's way is so simple. It's simpler than what you can even imagine. It's not complicated at all. That's why he said, take on my ways. They are easy. My burdens are light. That is the truth. But I can't wait to respond to some more. Is there?
I think Lin Yan Chin said that he has an Obama phone, so he's sorry he can't call in. But he gave more super chats. We'll read them. We'll read the rest of you guys' super chats tomorrow.
Thank you, Lin Yan Chin. Right?
Lin Yan Chin, yeah.
Lin Yan Chin. Mm-hmm. Lin Yan Chin. Oh! Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay.
And we'll get to calls, but you wanted to talk to Doug
yeah,
first.
Doug been thinking about it since he's been listening for an hour. He has some more to add to it.
I did?
Yeah. Had you paid attention to the callers or anything?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get anything from the responses?
I get that maybe because people don't think about these things a lot, they don't know how to answer it, because it's not like on their mind, or since they haven't thought about it, they don't know how to answer it, and I think they believe their thoughts right at that moment.
Yeah.
So a lot of them kind of go into that. Perhaps a lot of them go into that, I'm not worthy. And I think it's because they listen to their thoughts.
Amazing.
I mean, not that everybody's worthy, but I think that people do think that.
Amazing. You're onto something. They do. You're absolutely right. And that's why you got to think on these things. Don't think about what you're going to wear, what you're going to eat. And don't just take people at their word, meaning hear the words, and give them the benefit of the doubt until they prove that they're wrong, whatever. But you just can't take people's word at things. You have to know for yourself that you know. Because you can hear about Jesus and about God and about these things, and you think you know, or you can read about it and think you know, but you just know about it. You don't really know that you know that you know that you know. And God wants us to know that we know that we know we know.
And you can tell those people by the fact that their answer is so long and so hard to understand, and they're the ones who think they know. Their answer is a very long, drawn out, and at least I can't understand them.
And the thing that's good about that, hopefully it'll make them, once they say all that stuff, they'll think later, wow, I really don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. I didn't know that I didn't know. Because I didn't know that I didn't know until he woke me up. That's when I realized I've been so brainwashed with everything that I didn't know that I was being brainwashed. Because you could be brainwashed and be asleep and not even know it.
True.
So I think that's what's going on too. What's Joel Boo's name?
I don't know.
You talking about Boo Boo?
Joel's Boo Boo.
Grace.
Oh, Grace. Joel, tell Grace to call in. I would love to hear what Grace has to say about this. I haven't talked to Grace in a while. Joel, tell your Boo Boo to call in.
Well, the lines are full, so let's.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, let's get to a couple more calls or a call or so. You have 2
Joel, will you
minutes.
tell Joel to tell his Boo to call in? I want to ask her because I think she would be interested on this. Okay.
Okay, let's get to Mike in San Marcos, California. How about?
Hey, Mike, welcome to church.
Hey, it's Mike. Good morning.
Hey, Mike, are you a son of God, Mike?
Yes, I'm a little baby, brand new baby boy, son of God.
And how do you know? What is it? How do you know that's for sure?
Because all my fear is gone and all my anger and hatred is gone. I'm starting to love everybody and really understand forgiveness and what that means. And that helps me just stay fearlessly in the moment. It just kind of expecting to follow one foot after another, day by day, wait and see. Just like I trust God, that I have faith. Like I can see that he's leading my life and growing me, teaching me new things. When I ask him for answers, he gives them to me. He's revealing new things to me all the time, and I just feel great.
I
think that's what it is.
Had you thought about this prior to it becoming a biblical question?
No, not really.
Amazing. I appreciate that input, man.
Cool.
That's deep.
I appreciate the question.
Right on. Have a good one. Thank you for calling.
Okay, you too, sir.
All right, buddy.
Love you, man. Bye.
All right.
We are opening the treasure chest on dlive.tv/JC.
Treasure chest open.
Do you want to do one more quick call before you give your 2 cents?
Yeah. If Grace called in before it's over, I want to talk to Grace.
Okay.
All right. Grace, call. Okay.
Igor in South Carolina. Igor is on the line.
Igor, welcome to church.
Oh, thank you, Jesse. How are you?
All is well. Are you a son of God?
Absolutely.
And how do you know absolutely that you are?
Because his word says, you are my son, I have begotten thee.
You say because the word said it?
Yeah.
What word?
Word of God.
Oh, so you got that from the Bible?
I grew up a Christian as well. So I also wanted to respond to the Christ-like comments.
Okay, but just for the record, though, you said that you know you are because of that scripture you just quoted?
Well, it says that you can't please God without believing. So I believe that the ultimate standard is his word. It's like a map. It's a guide.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. You had you want to refer to the God-like, Christ-like.
I've noticed you mentioned James, and then Andrea mentioned, I think, one of the callers. Christ-like, Jesus said that I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody can get to the Father but by me. That's why I believe Christians say we got to be Christ-like. And also in another verse it says, if you don't have the Son, you don't have the Father. That's why I believe there's no other way. In Ephesians 2nd or 3rd chapter it says that
how is that being Christ-like?
Well, we have to have the qualities of Christ because he was the only one.
What are the qualities of Christ?
Well, it says that he went through all the temptation and yet without sin. So he's the ultimate example how we can get to the Father, which is through Christ.
So
That's why
did
I say,
Christ,
I'm a son of God through Christ.
in the Bible, did Christ tell you to be like him?
Yes.
It says that in the Bible?
Yes.
In the Bible, Christ said, be like me.
Yeah.
Where is that in the Bible?
He said that I'm the son of God, and me and my Father are one.
I know, but where
And
does
anyone
it
who wants to
say,
get-
where does Christ say, be like me? Be Christ-like. Where is that in the Bible?
to get to the Father, which is, you asked me if I'm the Son of God.
Right.
So to get to him, I only have to go through Jesus. That's why I'm saying, it does say, I think, I don't remember exactly which verse, but it does say that I'm the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody gets to the Father.
I know, but you
That's why
said
I'm
that Christ said, be like him. That's in the Bible. I'm asking you, where is that in the Bible?
Ephesians 2nd or 3rd.
It said, be like Christ?
Yes.
Christ said, be like me.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for calling, all right?
All right, no problem. Thank you.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Bye.
All right. Still no Grace, but we do have other callers. And we have Tony.
Tell Joel to text Grace and tell Grace to call up here. Don't have me come over there, Grace.
Tony Castle gave a few diamonds.
Okay, thank you, Tony.
And he says,
Did you text her? Oh, she's on the phone?
Just got online
good.
But he's still getting there.
Okay.
Tony Castle says, I'm a child of God because I want his approval. I try to obey him, and when I don't feel like he's disappointed in me.
Right on. Thank you for that input and your support.
Okay, so Gracie, it says Gracie, Los Angeles, California, on the line.
Yes, our Gracie. Gracie, welcome to church.
Hi, Jesse.
How you doing?
I'm well. I'm just so shy to be on the phone.
So, what has it been like for you not to be able to come into the church building?
It's a little different. I mean, I know that you have the services online, but it's not the same. You know,
You're right.
At first I thought it would be fine, but it's nice to be able to see you and it's different. You know.
Yeah, I'll be glad for everybody to come back now. I'm ready for everybody to come back now.
Yeah, I know.
So, and thank you for calling too. I totally appreciate it. Are you a daughter of God?
I am. I feel like I didn't have my dad really growing up, so I think I've always seen God as like a father, even if I didn't quite know it. But yeah, I think I am. Oh, I am a daughter of God.
And you say you are because of what? How do you know you are?
Well, it's just it's. I feel like he's like the force that sustains me, kind of like I feel like he's like my backbone, kind of. So I don't know. It's just like I would say just knowing, like
amazing.
Like no matter what, he has my back, you know.
Yeah. I really wanted to hear from you on this because I know that, you went and forgave your mother, you forgave your father, and I saw this amazing change in you, especially once you dealt with went and forgave your father. So I wonder, what will you have to say about this? That's amazing.
Yes, I mean, after forgiving my dad, I just never thought that would be possible.
I know, I remember that.
For everyone else, it's possible, but for me, and now we have a beautiful relationship, and it's so strange, I just never thought that would happen to me.
I remember all that. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing like being close to loving your earthly father.
Yes, and even till now, my mom sometimes tries to get me to hate him by telling me things about him.
Yeah.
And it's just evil, it's like, wow, but I can see it, and it's amazing. It never stops.
Yeah,
the
well,
women's spirit
next time she tell you that, just say, hey, I don't want to hear it. That's your problem. You need to forgive, but don't let her feed you that at all.
Yeah. I mean, I do speak up, and I think she's just trying. She'll stop for a while, and then she'll continue on. So
Yeah, she's like, what the?
you know.
Yeah.
Evil.
I know. So did you hear me tell Joel to get his boo?
Yeah.
Do you mind me calling you Joel's boo?
No, I don't mind.
Right on. You will always be Joel boo no matter what.
I hope so.
No, you will. And he will always be your boo. Or boo-boo. I think the man is the boo-boo, right?
No. She's Boo-Boo and he's Boo-Boo Bear.
Oh, Boo-Boo Bear. I will never forget when you had Boo-Boo Bear jumping out the airplane. I'm like, when a man loves a woman.
That is true.
Well, Grace.
So,
go ahead.
Are you thinking about next week opening up?
Yeah,
or
I'm
you're
thinking about just breaking the rules of doing it next week. I was hoping to have some answers this week. I'm working on something but we didn't get the answer back yet. I called and tried to chat. They were supposed to get back to me. They didn't. So we're going to probably just break the rule next Sunday. I'll be talking about it a lot throughout this week.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, no pressure. Obviously we don't want you to get in trouble or anything like that.
Right, absolutely. Well, it's good to hear your voice, and thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you, Jesse.
All right.
Have a nice day, okay?
All right, you too. Bye now. Amazing. That was Joel's boo. Boo, boo. Boo-Boo Bear and Boo-Boo. Okay.
Let's quickly get to Juliet out of Virginia.
Okay, then I have to put in my 2 cents because my time is almost up, folks. Juliet, right?
Yep.
Juliet, welcome to church.
Hi, Jesse. How are you?
All is well. Thank you for calling.
So I called to answer the biblical question.
Are you a daughter of God?
Yes.
And how do you know?
Well, when I first, forgave my family, I think I went kind of backward because I kept trying to be somebody. I kept trying to be,
Yeah.
the way I thought you're supposed to be.
Right.
But the more I grow into myself and knowing myself, I just realized that, I'm not in control. And, I don't really judge people, when I'm around people. They're I don't judge their life. I don't judge my life. I don't determine what's right and wrong for my life.
Yep.
So the more and more I do that, there's just this content that I have within myself, whether things are falling apart or they're going perfect. So that's how I know that I'm a child of God.
That's amazing. Had you thought about this before I turned it into a biblical question?
Yes, because, we don't tell, what was it, a black man to remember, but I don't know if you remember me. Me and my brother both forgave my parents. So we often have these discussions with each other.
Yep.
And, I remember we were with a group of people and people were saying, we're not perfect. And I was like, well, I am,
There you go.
And it was a joke. So the only time that I have doubt with that question is if I think I'm in control for even a split second, and I try to control a situation or where my life is heading, or I try to be somebody I'm not because I think that's the perfect way, instead of just trusting the process of where I'm at.
Right on.
And just growing day by day. If I do something that's considered wrong or if I think it's considered wrong, then I find myself getting into the thoughts and crumbling. But even if I do something wrong and I just let it be and I let it pass,
yes,
and I just shrug it off, I find that I don't judge myself harshly. And the caller before said, even if your earthly father is mad at you or you disappoint him, he's still your father.
Yes.
So that's how I kind of see things in my life as well.
That's deep. Amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing. I really appreciate your input on this question. Thank you for it, all right?
Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you as well. Amazing. So let me just say, God said that we must be born again, right? So we are born of the flesh from the mother. And when you're born of the mother, you're dying. You're not living. You are dying. You're in darkness and don't know it. And so God said that we must be born again of the Spirit, which is of Him, which is coming back to the Father. And when you are born again of the Spirit, you start to live. You're not dying, you are living. You walk by the light. He's guiding you. He is with you. He loves you. He allows you to see. And so the fact that you've been born again of the Spirit of God, then you are God's son or God's daughter. You are His son or daughter because God only allows those who have returned to Him to see. Otherwise, if you have not been born again of Him in the Spirit, then you live in the darkness and Satan is your daddy. You are a son or a daughter of Satan. But when you're born again of God, you are His son. You are His daughter. But what I realized from all this is that people have been so brainwashed about God and who He is and your relationship with Him, you're afraid to say it. A whole lot of folks are afraid to say, yes, I am a son or a daughter of God. Why would you be afraid or embarrassed or whatever to say, God is my Father? Even in the Lord's Prayer, our Father, which art in heaven, right? So if you've been born of Him, He is your Father. Otherwise, you can't be born of Him. How are you going to be born of Him and yet separated from Him? And and this whole thing about being Christ-like and all that, that's just stuff Christians made up. Christians got a lot of sayings that sound Christian-y, that sound godly, and from those sayings, people think they've been born of God. And if you notice, those who try to be Christ-like, they're not going to say they are sons or daughters of God. We are sons and daughters of God if you've been born again of Him. That's why He said, you must be born again. Come back to the Father and be of Him, and He will guide your every way. His ways are easy. His burdens are light because you are His son or daughter. Don't be afraid to say it because if you deny Him, He's going to deny you. How you think that He's going to, when you die, and hopefully you go to heaven, and there you are ringing the white bell, the white gate bell, right? And God like, go down there and answer the door, Jesus. And then Jesus go and answer the door, and Jesus like, who is it? My name is Tom, Uncle Tom. And then, are you a son or daughter of God? I don't know. He ain't gonna let you in. All right? Don't be afraid. If you've been born again of God, you can now see. I once was blind, but now I see. You were blind because you were in the fallen state. Satan was your daddy. Now that you can see, you have taken on the mind of your Father. You've taken on the ways of your Father. You have love. You operate from perfect love. I can tell you I have no anger because He took it away and replaced it with love. He is love. That's why you hear a lot of the guys and gals, the ladies and the men saying that I don't hate anymore. That means that you are a daughter of God because there's no love in Satan. And when you're in that fallen state, you do have hate. And so don't be afraid. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel unworthy. Unworthy means that you see that it's His love and you can't puff yourself up thinking that it's of you. You know it's from Him, right? So that, because that ego is dying. But it's okay to say God is your Father if you're born again of Him. All right? Because you were born back into his nature. Why wouldn't he be your father? Don't be afraid to say that. But the Christians have been so dumbed down and brainwashed, they're afraid to say it. They feel unworthy. They feel this. That Satan got you feeling unworthy from all the intellectual knowledge that you have learned. I can actually tell you, I realized a while back that God was my father. And I'm like, wow, that's something else, that God is my father, and I know it, and I can say it. It's like seeing your earthly father for the first time. And you look at him and be like, wow, that's my father. I look just like him. I walk like him. I'm just like him. With kids especially, there's like a sense of happiness, a pride to know you're just like your father. I remember when my son lived with me for about a couple of years. He was like 3 years old or so. And when people would tell him, at that time we took the bus sometimes, and they would say, oh, that little boy looks just like you. You look just like your daddy. And he would just puff up with joy that he looked like me. I felt that way about my earthly father. So you better be happy, be grateful that God is your father. Don't be afraid to say God is your father. Worry about what someone else is going to think, or Satan telling you, oh, that's not humble. That's not that. And Christ said, he is not him, but is his father in him. He spoke about his father. I need to know my father's will. God is my father. I am a son of God. They got mad at him for saying it. Oh, who are you? I think the Jews did, right? The Jews got mad at Christ for saying, I am a son of God. What the? And they were mad because they didn't recognize the Son. They didn't know God, so they didn't recognize the Son. They read about God, but they didn't know him. And so they didn't like it when Jesus said he's the Son. Likewise, the fallen people are not going to like it when you say you're the son or daughter of God. They're like, what are you saying? Blaspheme. That's because they don't know him. And when you just read about God, you just know about him. But when you're born of his spirit, you become his child. Christ become your brother. That's why Christ said, whatever he owns, you own it too. We're an inheritance of God. Whatever he owns, we own it too. All right? He's not going to give that to the fake children. He's only going to give it to your children. I mean, his children. Just as you would with your blood children. Right? So it was so interesting to see the people who were saying they weren't sure, and I don't know, I'm Christ-like. And the people there who were saying that they were Christ-like, they couldn't even explain that. Because Christ's personality is love, because that's what his Father is. And he came so that that light of the of the Father can shine through the Son, that we may see. And that's what's happening with you when you wake up. Your Father, light is shining through you. That way those who are lost can find their way. And you can see your way. All right? It's okay to be a son. That's why he said you must be born again of God. Overcome mama, which is of Satan, that spirit in her. It's not that person, but the spirit made home in her. Return to the Father. If you notice, the mothers turn you away from your fathers. Well, God wants you to come back to him and become his son or daughter. And to answer our friend Maria's question, if you're a child of God, that means you're a daughter of God if you're a lady. If you're a child of God and you're a male, you're a son of God. You're God's daughter or son. It means the same thing as far as I can tell. Does it, James?
Yeah.
As far as I can tell. And so all you Christ-like people, you don't know what you're talking about. That's why you have to quote the Bible to see what it says. But I don't know if those words are in the Bible, be Christ-like. The Christians made that up because they were blind. And so they read you the scriptures and they talk about what Christ did. And they tell you, be Christ-like. But if you're not born again, you can't even do what he did. He said, greater works than you do. And not because of you, but because of the Father. All right? So I am a son of God. And I'm blessed to be a son of God. I'm humbled by it. That's what you heard me say that. It is amazing to be a Christian. because you operate in his nature now. But I really, really, really appreciate the feedback on that. I did not expect that. But then as it was happening, I was reminded how people are afraid to admit that there's sons and daughters of God. We are sons and daughters of God if we've been born again of him. If you've not been born again of him, then say your daddy, whether you admit it or not. All right? That's why you hear some of the callers today saying that their lives are a little easier. They can see the right way to go. They are overcoming that fallen state. That's because they're sons and daughters of God. He cleaned up all that mess because it's spiritual. What do you think about that, James? That makes sense a little bit?
Yeah.
No?
Well, but then how do you know that you've been born again?
Because and the reason you know you've been born again of God, you can now see. You see it by the light of God, by the love of God. He lives in you. He is love. He and love is there. And the light shines. And those who have been born of him can see. That's how you know you're a son of God or a daughter. And you have peace. And always, just for those, and then I got in. Those that don't have, when you are born again, you got to know that you're now overcoming the imagination, the thoughts and things like that. So as a little child growing into an adult, son or daughter of God, you're going to believe some of those thoughts sometimes. And Satan's going to tell you, you're not born again. Don't believe it. Don't believe anything he has to say about anything. He want to make you doubt yourself. And a caller mentioned once you're born again, you can't be unborn. You cannot be unborn. You can't go into mama's womb. I know a lot of you like to go back into mama's womb, but you can't do it. Likewise, once you're born again of God, you cannot be unborn. All right? So you will know because you will be able to see. You will be able to see. And so when you fall into those thoughts, you're going to see that you fall into a thought. And even though you're feeling weird, you know you're in a thought, and you'll be able to eventually come out of it. And then as you grow, you just come out of it right away because you know the difference between the darkness and the light. Amazing. Will you say that, Doug? That makes sense? Yeah. Yeah, you can see. I once was blind, but now I see. And you have love for even your enemy. And your enemies come in all different sizes and colors. Even the Christians and the so-called friends who pretend to be your friend could be your enemy. Really. But you'll see all that. And it won't bother you. You wish them well because your Father is guiding you. He is your Father. It's okay for him to be your Father. All right. So I really, really appreciate that. Yes, James?
Can we do one last quick 1 minute to 2 minute call from the UK?
Okay. One last quick 1 minute, 2 minute call from the UK. Who is this?
Odile.
Hello.
How do you say it?
How do you say your name?
Odile. Odile.
Odile, welcome to church. Thank you for calling. All the way from the UK.
Yeah, from the UK. I've just listened to the answers you gave about if you're a child of God. I've done some jotting down, but I had mine before. It's just about the anger issue because I used to have a lot of anger. I recently started listening to your programs on YouTube.
Yes.
And I now worked on it. The only problem is I'm in the UK and my dad is in Africa because you said we need to forgive our mom and our dad.
Yes.
I don't have a mom anymore. But since I'm here and he's in Africa, I'll say, okay, I'll just give him a call. I think that would be fine for now until I get back there to talk to him. Or
Absolutely.
Face to face.
Are you able to FaceTime with him or anything?
Oh, FaceTime. I think that would be maybe WhatsApp. But I was able to call him. If I have to FaceTime, then I will have to do that again then. But I called him, and it was a good conversation. I was really scared initially, but when the conversation started going on,
yes,
I was able to express to him how my upbringing and everything about the home. And he was listening. Anytime I paused, he would say, I'm listening, and I said, okay. So I explained everything to him, and he was like, okay. And I told him I forgave him and all that. He was like, oh, my God, thank you so much.
Amazing.
I think he was scared that probably I wanted to say I don't want to have anything to do with it. But when he heard I forgave him, he was so relieved
And he was really, really happy that I gave him that call and we were able to discuss all the issues. So he said, thank you. He was thanking me even today. And ever since, I noticed a change in me because I used to be very, very angry.
Yes.
I wasn't like that before, but all of a sudden I was very angry. When I talk, everybody's running away. I'm like, why am I like this? I'm like, my mom used to be an angry person, and my dad is angry as well. Why am I angry? I don't even understand anymore. Why I'm this angry? So when you said that, I now understood. I began to listen to most of your programs. I'm like, okay, this is what is really happening. So when I spoke to my dad, I think all the anger went. My children, they noticed it. They said, oh, you've changed. You don't shout anymore. You don't scream anymore. You're not angry anymore. I said, yeah, even when they do things that I used to shout about, they don't. So I've also started the silent prayer, which I do before I go to bed and I wake up.
Right.
And I've noticed a difference in my attitude, in my character, in my personality. And there was a grudge I held on to for years. When I say years, I think about 15 years. I tried just to forgive the people that did me this wrong. I couldn't. But now I just look at it like it's nothing. I didn't even call them, but I just look at it like it's not. It's just amazing how my life is. It's just a few days, but it's transformed. I will see a big difference. I've been going to church and all that. I noticed that there's no changes in me. And I said, okay, if I've done church for so many times, for so long, let me change my ways now into doing what you have said we should do. And let me see how my life will change. And just within a few days, my life has totally changed. Thank you, Jesse. I'm really happy and I appreciate it, especially for everything that is done for me to be able to speak to my dad. And now I can talk to my dad. I call because before I can stay 2 months, 3 months even without speaking to him. I didn't really understand that the reason why it can. When I see his missed call, I will not even call him back until I just feel like I'm ready. But now I feel like I have to call. I know I have to call him. Like today, I said, okay, let me call him. I have it on my heart to always give him a call and speak to him. And he's happy that I'm always calling, and we are just in a good place. Thank you, Joseph, for that.
You have literally made my day. Thank you so much for fellowshipping with us and putting it out there. It's going to help other people as well. That is. How old are you now? You even tell me?
I'm 44.
That's amazing. What a nice age to be waking up. You are blessed.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jesse. Thank you.
You're totally welcome. And thank you for calling me, all right?
All right.
That's amazing.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
God bless you. Call me again.
All right.
Okay.
I will.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. That's amazing. So she's been going to church all this time, trying to change her life, trying to find the right way. Nothing was happening. Then she hear me say, go and forgive. You got to forgive. She knew she was like her mother, all angry and out of it. Her father and mother were angry. She went and forgave, and right away her life changed. That's your father that changed her life. It's God, your father, who allowed you to see where I'm coming from. It's God, your father, who allowed you to see that you needed to forgive so he can forgive you and bring you back into the kingdom of heaven within. That's an amazing call, all the way from the UK. Mamma mia, hola. I'm telling you, folks, once you are born again of God, common sense says he is your father. Now you're overcoming the lies of Satan in your head. And he has something to say about everything. You could have to go to the toilet to take a pee. He's going to tell you when, how, and where. And you wonder, why you have anything to do with that thing? That doesn't make any sense. He's trying to pull you back in, right? But now that you know his voice and you recognize your father's voice, you're going to be fine. So don't worry about it. Do the silent prayer. Speak up. Doubt every thought, and you're fine. And if those who don't know for sure that God's their daddy, you're going to see that he is. You really will know for yourself. And it's like there's no word to express the gratefulness that you have knowing that God is your father. And in knowing he is your father, you can never doubt because you're with your father, all right? If you've been born again of the Spirit of God, he is your father, men and women. And no matter how young or how old, you are his son or daughter, all right? This has been amazing, right? Yep. Amazing. So thank you all for your super chats and D-Lives and all that good stuff. The donations to Bond and at rebuildingtheman.com. We have the best counseling service on this side of heaven. The best counseling service. So if you need counseling, even though we're not taking people in the building yet for counseling, you can do it by phone or by Skype or FaceTime or whatever. All right? You won't be disappointed. All around the world, heard by everybody in there, mama. And I do appreciate it. You have no idea, well, most of you do, some of you do, what it's like to have this type of fellowship. Now, this is real church. When we edify one another, we correct one another, we edify. We're not trying to hurt or embarrass or put people down, but just point the way. Be an example and point the way back to the Father inside of you. Know thyself, all right? And again, I really, really do appreciate it. Thank you for your donations and your continued support. I don't take it for granted. Some of you you can call 800-411-BOND, 800-411-2663 to make your donations, all right? I do appreciate it. I have a brand new biblical question for this week. Brand new biblical question. I think we're going to get some pretty good answers from this because I think a lot of people are doing it now. What is the purpose? Why is stillness so important? Why is stillness so important? Why is stillness so important? Are you able to tell us real fast, Ricky? Last word on you, and then I'm out of here. I'm going way over my time. But don't be afraid. I am not afraid to say, I'm a son of God. He's my Father. And I know He's my Father. I know. My life wouldn't be what it is. I couldn't see if it wasn't for Him. All right? Why is stillness so important?
For me, that's how I was able to find our Creator, God, because I had to let the ego die.
Okay. Amazing. And so you do the silent prayer?
I do.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. I'll have my experts tell me next week. I'm so out of time. Thank you all for everything. We have our store, easy store now online, rebuildingtheman.com/store. Amazing stuff on there now. Oh, amazing. So thank you all. Don't forget to do the silent prayer. Speak up, but don't resent. Doubt every thought about everything. All right? If you learn how to build a house, you use the mind as a tool. You remember how to build that house? Go and use that to build a house, and once you're done with the house, let it go. Don't hold on to it. Keep your glass empty with everything, all right? Thank you all for an amazing church. Have a good week, and we'll talk again soon. Bye. Amazing.